All right. Okay. So I wanted to kind of go over this concept of total control over your mind. um, I mentioned this technique in a talk that I gave about a week ago, and I wanted to kind of expound on it so people really understood what I was talking about. So the idea is to, the concept is when you have a thought arise in your mind, that first of all, it's not from you, it's from just the mechanics of your mind and how it works. Second of all, a lot of times it's a thought that we don't want. Being a past drug addict, I continue to get little thoughts of using and that kind of thing, and they're thoughts that are just perfectly normal. I mean, they're going to happen to everybody. So what I'm talking about is how to control these thoughts as they arise. So as they arise, several months ago, I was trying to really get a feel on how thoughts rise and how they work, and how to deal with them as they come in. And while I was in jail, there was a psychologist who was telling us to actually indulge in the thought as it arrives in the mind, and play it all the way out to the negative outcome, and use the negative outcome as a decisive point to not follow through with the thought. The problem I have with that is that you're indulging in the thought. You're still giving it access to your conscious mind, and you're indulging in it, and so you're strengthening the thought in a way. So what I decided to try to do is, I've been kind of interested in martial arts lately, and I realized that the concept in martial arts where you use your opponent's energy against himself also applies to thoughts, unwanted thoughts. So if you would notice, as a thought arises in your mind, it has a certain amount of energy that comes with it, a little bit of, mental kinetic force that comes with the thought. And sometimes it's easy to deal with because it's not a lot, and you can just kind of push it aside. Sometimes it comes with a great deal of force, and it's really hard to resist, and that's when a lot of people give in to using or whatever their problem is. So as a thought arises, what you want to do, visualization is really important with starting to learn any kind of mental technique at the beginning. So what I did was I started off wrapping almost like a visual skin around the thought. So as a thought arose, I'd wrap a visual skin around the thought, and a humanoid form, a monster or whatever, and I would build kind of a visual construct, and I would spar with it, and I would use his energy against himself. So you have to do it really quick. It's not something like you sit down and build this little room and everything. The second the thought comes into mind, you have to throw a visual wrap over everything really fast. This works because your mind works on so many levels. It's like an operating system, okay? If you're a nerd, you understand that you have your operating system, and then you have your windowing system above it. You also have shells, the windowing system usually. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is it all works on the same core processing unit, okay? It all works on the same core operating system. And if you have to construct something visual, or like a Windows-like construct, to get a good handle on how things work and deal with it, go ahead. It's easy, and the second you understand how that works, you can drop down to lower levels of operation, faster levels of operation, that you can deal with these thoughts. So as a thought arises, it has a certain amount of energy with it. You immediately wrap that thought in a visual skin, a sparring partner, and you have that sparring partner coming at you with the same amount of force. You wrap the force also in that world, into a property of that world. So as it comes with you, you just visually spar with him. As he punches you, step out of the way, grab his arm, pull him through, watch him smash into buildings, and continue this, making sure that you keep that thought contained in that visual representation that you just skinned over it. So you spar with a thought, and you just want to kick its ass, really. You make sure you just keep that mental sparring going on until it's done. What you will notice is, first of all, after a while, you begin to understand how that visualization works, and you can actually drop that visualization and just spar with a thought on a purely thought and energy level. I haven't quite figured out how to really describe how that works, but I use it often, and it really is just kind of like the thought comes, I pull it. I use its force against itself and pull it out of my head. But okay, so the two things you're going to notice is that A, you're going to be able to drop down to a lower, more more productive operating level when you're dealing with the thoughts. And the second thing that's going to happen is that your thoughts are going to rise, well, those negative thoughts are going to rise with less and less power, to the point to where you're just going to be like, okay, guy, let's do this. You're going to take care of it. It's going to be no thing. You're not even going to have to deal with it. It's just going to be kind of like a natural instinct. So yeah, the thoughts lose power as you spar with them and defeat them constantly. So the reason I came up with this, like I said, the whole idea with bringing the thought in, entertaining it, running through the sequence all the way to the negative outcome. You're not destroying the thought, you're not getting rid of the thought, you're not sparring with the thought, you're not facing the thought. You're indulging in it, which is going to give it power, and the next time it comes up, it's going to be just as powerful, if not more powerful. And the second thing is, maybe a lot of you have tried like facing the thought head on and dealing with it on a kind of like brute force kind of a level. And what you'll notice with that is you just wear yourself out mentally. The thought's coming at you and you're trying to face off with it. You're just going to break your fist or your chest or whatever you try to block it with. And this is speaking, metaphorically on a thought level. But you're just going to wear your mind out and the thought's going to take over. There's so many times. What I noticed when I was trying to headbutt with the negative thoughts were arising was that every time I headbutted with it, I may have won, it may have taken over, but the next time it comes up, it's a little bit stronger, and a little bit stronger, and a little bit stronger, until you just give in and collapse. And I'm like, all right, dude, let's follow through this with this thought and, use some heroin. So this is a concept I came up with, a technique I came up with about 6 months ago, 7 months ago maybe. It might have been even longer than that. But I hope this helps people. I hope this really helps a lot of people that are having problems with dealing with thoughts, unwanted thoughts, especially people that are dealing with addictions, because I've been through the whole thing. I've been through the ringer. I've been through using, and I understand how hard it is to control those thoughts and keep them from having an influence on your body and having an influence on your actions. And when I realized this through meditation, that the thought and the energy that the thought comes with are two separate objects, and you can use the energy that the thought comes with to defeat the thought itself. It opened an entire new world of auto mind control to me. So that's just a step up from almost anything else I've ever tried or learned, or any technique I've ever learned from any psychotherapist, right? So yeah, share this video, let other people know about this video, because it's helped me on levels that I can't even explain. Thanks for watching.